Okay. Wicked. I think we're good. I've never done this before. So, okay. So I'm doing this kind of, here. Already I'm bugging myself. How the hell do you do this? Oh, right. Monitor off. And monitor off. Okay. I think that's right. Okay. So, I'm jumping on here to... Oh, everything's like in reverse or something. That's really trippy. Okay. 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 Yeah. Sorry, guys. Never streamed before. So what we're doing today is I'm going to show you guys how Oliver Francis type beats are truly made. And a lot of people kind of get it mixed up. A lot of people kind of think that Oliver type beats are made through pads and like reverse everything, and like there's like a semblance of truth to it, but it's not really the case. What kind of happens is, oh, this is so trippy. This is so trippy. Oh, I see. Okay, okay. Can I not have this open? That's so strange, though. Because what if people come in here? Oh, I don't know how to stream. Okay, well, anyway. We'll figure it out, and I'll pop back in every once in a while and do a little double check. But I'm mainly doing this just to kind of make a video, chop it up, and then kind of like break it down for you guys later. Okay, so Oliver Francis... there's a bit of a misconception behind him. A lot of people on here think that the easiest way to kind of make Oliver type beats is, or the way that he does it is through pads and then like reversing them and then synth basses, which he does use a lot of. And what else? Yeah, just stuff like that. But it's not really the case. Oliver Francis is a sample-based producer. I cannot state that enough. He primarily works off of samples, and so it's kind of the same thing that I do, whether you make them, get them, or flip them, or whatever. A lot of the times you're finding a sample, kind of chopping it up a little bit, and then finally when after all is said and done, you kind of mess with the effects, and maybe you halftime it or reverse things or stretch it out in a certain way. What ends up happening is you end up coming up with like an Oliver type sample. So for the purpose of this, I kind of wanted to make an Oliver type sample and show you how that might kind of come about. Yeah, and my thoughts are kind of scatterbrained, so I'm that kind of guy. So if I might kind of jump around and explain things kind of funny, and I'll end up working through this, but it's fine. But anyway, long story kind of short, what you want to do, because people are half right, you do want to use pads and you do want to use like reverse stuff, but the trick is that you want to have these samples be your pads. So if you look at a lot of my beats, what they are old samples that maybe I've made, or splice loops, or things that Rogi has sent me, or things that Typhon has sent me, and I've kind of reversed them or flipped them or even just pitched them down because they kind of worked. But a lot of the times it is flipping samples in a way that kind of makes them sound like pads. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to get started, and I'm going to set the tempo to probably around 155, let's say, like, okay, 149, 155, whatever. So let's get started with kind of, we'll do like a happy one, because I don't typically make too many happy ones, happy sounding Oliver beats like on my own. Like typically I'm making kind of darker stuff just because that's what I end up gravitating towards. But for the purpose of this, let's try making something that's a little more upbeat and glittery. And this is the hard part. This might be the whole fucking video, is just me sitting here trying to figure out what the hell to make here, because again, it's so strange with him. It is like a very specific vibe that you're trying to hit, and Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. That's why it's like really, really good if you're making Oliver type beats to really focus on just finding the correct samples, whether they're like old indie singers like he's used on a few songs, or ambient EDM music. That's another one that I kind of gravitate towards using, is samples from like ambient EDM YouTube channels. Kind of all over the place. So we're gonna friggin' hunt through here, maybe find some sort of a pluck sound. That doesn't sound like... Okay, let's go with this. Let's turn this guy up just a little bit. Okay, now let's make like a chord progression. So first thing I kind of do, I'm really not good at this. Just disclaimer, I'm not exactly the best chord maker, figure outer guy, especially when I'm like plugging stuff in. That's why I'm a guitar player. And I don't really know piano too well, but it is kind of like a thing that it's just kind of easy to have on hand, like a MIDI keyboard, just kind of like get your ideas down like really quick, especially if you're just like, I don't know, speeding up stuff. All right, so let's file. I know there's a way to do this. View, scale hiding, and let's go D major. Why not today? Let's turn that guy down here, maybe. Harpe. Yeah, let's try this. Maybe. Actually, that's kind of nice. It's kind of like cute and nice. Maybe. I hate a lot of the friggin' presets on 5 keys, but you know what? What did I do? What did I do? Oh, I went to the wrong tip. Okay. So like this shouldn't be there. I kind of like it, but I don't. Okay, let's try a little effect work. You never know. Okay, honestly, that's pretty nice. I like that one. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of cool. I like that guy. So typically we kind of like go through, like make a pattern like that. Okay, not that, but you know what I mean. Like we kind of go through, we kind of make a pattern like that. And now we're gonna like go through and like I'm gonna tweak it a little bit. We're gonna see kind of what we can come up with. Honestly, okay. The kind of back and forth about this too, what's kind of cool and what's kind of like semi weird about it is you're almost trying to go for like lullaby kind of things, like stuff that's like almost going to make you to sleep. And then you're going to put like really like weird like drums on it and like friggin' make an 808 like just like pound. But like I don't know, it also Oliver's kind of weird because you can kind of make like 18 different versions of like I don't know views from him kind of thing. Hey, hi, Dirty Milk. I don't know if I caught that. I gotta find a way to like have this thing kind of like on the side or something. I don't really know. And then it's like tripping me out too because like I can see myself streaming, and then like it's like in a mirror. It's so weird. I gotta figure this out though. My lord. But hi, Dirty Milk. How are you doing today? So okay. So this is what we're doing. Is we're basically trying to figure out like we're trying to find like a super vibey thing, and then we're gonna like output it, and then we're probably gonna reverse it. We're gonna see what happens. So we're just gonna copy that over. Control B for those that like don't know, but I don't know how much knowledge to give out and how much not to, because I don't want to be one of those like annoying YouTubers that just like, oh, like, you know, guys, like, here's what you do, and it's like something that like everyone goddamn knows at this point. Like, but I don't know, man. I get like screwed up every time because I just like sometimes I like post things and then it becomes like very apparent that like people like actually don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm like, oh geez. So I want to be helpful. I don't want to not be helpful or anything. I want to be a good dude, help out the boys, you know. Okay, so we're gonna do some odd sound design stuff to this. Not really, it's not odd sound design. So I don't even trust that thing either. Like I want that through halftime too. There it is. Yeah, let's get that. Yeah. So like, okay, maybe I've overthought it. I'm not too sure. I'm just gonna like mute that bad boy for now. Let's quick render this, see what happens. Don't do me dirty, FL. I knew it. I think it saved everything, so that's kind of nice. No, we're not playing. Okay, let's try this again. Is every render gonna botch this? Ah. All right, I get it. I get it. I get it. All right, maybe we have to turn on, change some stuff real quick. Let's just real quick, like. Oh, it does not want to do this. Holy crap. All right. Another quick way around this, lads. So let's go back to it one more time. All right. So what you can do is you can fire on these bad boys. Open up Edison in the master. There we go. Yes, sir. Let's let it run a few times and see what happens. This will be the one. All right. Let's rip. So we're going to cut this bad boy out directly at the 0 crossing, which is like right here, like right on the line. Bang, bang, bing, bang, boom. So let's drag this other bad boy over here. And once again on this there 0. And let's check for loop. Perfect. Literal perfect loop. So fire that on here. Oh, look at that. Right on top, boys. Sheesh. Okay, so we were in D major. So now what we're basically going to do is we're pretty well going to write an entirely like new thing off of this waveform. So, and again, like this is what he typically does. So, and this might mess up completely horribly. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to reverse it. So let's throw this, I don't know, 2 steps down. Nah, I'll do one more. I really like B major. Let's keep it clean. Let's keep it clean here. So she's reversed. So let's just go and we're going to chop out all of the points on here where I know that the chords kind of changes. So, okay, Edison's also playing right now. That is not what we want. No, sir. No, sir. So also, we want to like definitely like look up like how to make sure that like stuff isn't like clipping, or like you want to make sure that like when you're sampling like this, like you're kind of being able to, like FL is doing the whole crossfade thing for you. It's easier on other DAWs. That's why FL is so garbage for things like audio recording and stuff like that. But is literally the most beautiful MIDI editor known to DAW kind. So that's kind of where its strength lies. So what we're going to do now is, after we've kind of smoothed it all out and we've kind of pitched it down and let's kind of make it wavy and see where we kind of get from it. Like what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to make a pad melody kind of out of this reverse sample that we've kind of concocted for ourselves. It's a lot cooler and a lot easier if you're doing things like going through like video game samples and stuff like that. Like half of the stuff that you hear on my YouTube is like Silent Hill samples, or honestly, like I'm a huge Hollow Knight fan. Like, where is it? Where is this bad boy? I think it's this. Yeah. Yeah, so stuff like that, like guys, like literally what you're trying to do is like you're going and like you're finding really like cool like wavy samples, and then you're flipping them, reversing them, and like half timing them and like adjusting them and things like that to make them super wavy, and then you're putting trap drums on them. So let's double that. Why not? Yeah, let's try that. Hard. Fire. Like, and that's what you're doing. So yeah, sample, flip it, or export it, then you're doing this to it. So let's go a step further. So let's just say that I'm doing this and I need to make my beat for the day or what the hell. So like okay, so Oliver did, or uses, I guess I should say, fuck, okay, you know what, first, let's edit this. I'm gonna call this loop. I'm going to save this real quick, folks, in, I don't know, I'll put it in my trash bin for now. Let's call it YouTube. Go from there. Honestly, I'll probably finish this and put this up. What are we gonna call this? Dreamboat 149. Dope. So I'm gonna put some drums on it, and then we'll kind of go from there and see kind of what else it needs to be to kind of have like an Oliver kind of style. So I guess I kind of like to start off with bass. Now there's three kinds of basses that Oliver sort of uses, honestly, and so I'll kind of demonstrate them through my kit that I have. So there's a very common 808 that's being used, and you hear it all over the place, but it originated, I don't know, we think from Zaytoven. I'm really not sure. Please don't quote me on this, but it sounds like this. So that kind of like boom 808, like it's meant for like high energy stuff. You can hear it on like Don't Do That, for example. It's also on like Sephiroth. There's a few kind of beats where he uses something like that, and then also he'll do stuff like on Good Life Freestyle. So that, if I go into my first kit, kind of like an 808 like this, just some big absolute honker. And that's like, I don't know, Oliver doesn't really use these kind of things. And like where I'd kind of go with that is there's an 808 called the Spins 808. I know a lot of people have heard of it before, but just for those who don't, kind of sounds like this. Actually, I doctored that, excuse me. Kind of sounds like this. So that 808 right there, just for the name convention, it's my take on it. I added like a little bit of distortion to it, like fruity distortion, and it just kind of hits like a tad harder. But so he does use those a lot as well. Not really though. He kind of uses those more like, I don't know, for like the heavier stuff, like the Crown of Death. Like he used it on, yeah, like I was saying, Good Life Freestyle. And then he's also a big fan of synth basses. So synth basses, for those of you that really don't know, kind of sound like this. They're kind of long, drawn out. Like when people, I don't know, people are used to hearing 808s. I don't know how much I need to oversimplify this stuff. So he will use a lot of sub basses. So, and you'll hear that everywhere. Like you'll hear that on Star. I don't think he used an 808 on PMW. I'm pretty sure he used a synth bass on Mob. It's everywhere. It's everywhere, guys. Seriously, he uses synth basses a ton. And they kind of act in a way, in my opinion, almost as pads in a strange kind of way. Like they kind of act as, yeah, like bass pads, if you will. So you kind of, when you're making a beat like this, like you kind of want to judge the feel of it. Like, is it kind of like a beat that's like a little bit like quicker, or is it just like more like wavy, chill? Like, is it more like Gene Simmons, or is it more like, I don't know, like Sephiroth or something? So I love that, like, it's only my YouTube channel that like people are gonna get this. Okay, so to me this reminds me of Don't Do That. And so call me an idiot, but like I'm going to use a Zay 808 on this. I've been using it all the time. My another 808. So let's just throw that bad boy. That doesn't work. Can't do that. So let's delete this and we'll figure out this in B. I know that. What? Okay. Yeah, so is there a rule to those kinds of bass lines? Oliver likes pretty sparse stuff, I've noticed. So like that I was doing there, that's probably like a little too much. But let's kind of like track it and like figure it out. Let's add the metronome. Latency's kind of fucking me up. So let's go into that. Let's quantize that bad boy. Down, 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 down. Yeah, let's put it down the octave. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so yeah. Okay. So really quick, I guess let's break down like what he uses for snares and stuff like that. And so, okay, this is gonna be a very, very hot take. Old Oliver that we all kind of like and idolize compared to current day like production standards and stuff like that. In my opinion, old Oliver was a weak producer. A little bit. So, like for example, no, I can't say that. Like, yeah, I don't know. His sound selection was a little bit like kind of iffy here and there. And so, if we look at kind of like Oliver's sound selection, like a lot of times he's using kind of like, I don't know how to explain this. Like he's kind of using not even lo-fi stuff. It just doesn't sound too crisp. Like he kind of uses these like that to me is not like a fucking hit and snare. But old Oliver was the kind of guy that would kind of use stuff like that, like for his like main sound and stuff like that. So I kind of like to go through his kit that he kind of put out like ages ago and kind of decide like what kind of a vibe that this particular sound would need, like this particular song would need, I hear kind of like that kind of a clap on it. I don't use these. I don't use these claps. These are kind of taken out of, in general, like, I don't know who this fucker is, but these guys make like the craziest drums that literally, if you go through anyone's kits, like if you go through Cody's kits, if you go through like any of Internet Money's kits, if you go through like fucking anything off of Reddit that you find, like they are all ripping off this dude, Big White Beats. And so because that, like, you might as well like take things from the source and or doctor them a little bit to kind of work for what you want. I kind of like my own claps. You know, I made them to off of those sounds to make them how I want. So, but we can also like kind of like go through and figure out like this is a really common snare that he uses. I'm like being like really stupid today. So let's do this. Now, also, this is kind of where I'd like have my own fun with it. Can't like it there, whatever. All right, so let's add a hi-hat of some sort. So hi-hats, like he pretty well just uses your run-of-the-mill kind of like trap hats. There's nothing really too crazy about it. So okay, there's things that I like to do for bounce that like not necessarily Oliver does. Like I'm pretty sure like Oliver a lot of times will like do the two-step and like, or no. And like I think he'll call it a day. Like a lot of times there's things that I do that like are a little bit of a variation from that. So the one thing that I like to do is if I go into my piano roll and I hit fill each 4-step, this little guy right here, I like to go into then actually go into the piano roll, shift, click, hold, drag, and then I can actually like once I kind of have these duplicates, I lower them just a little bit and it kind of does this. Versus it kind of adds like a little bit more of a kind of thing to it, and then we kind of just the rest of it you kind of just play around with it, you hear in your head. So oh, that didn't work. Let's add that in. Yeah, let's add that over. Cool. Let's turn that up a little bit. I'm kind of being overly picky today. Not sure why. I like how, yeah, okay. And then, okay. It kind of comes down now to like, just like what you like to add to the beat. Does Oliver use a lot of open hats? Yes, he does. I would say so. Again, like I kind of will reference his actual like drum kit and kind of go from there to see what he uses. Those are a lot of like white noise cymbals and things like that. I don't necessarily use those. But yeah, he uses a lot of these like trap hat soundy things, few open hats and stuff, just like kind of like accentuate parts. I'm a big open hat guy. I really like open hats, so dial us back. Yeah, let's do that bounce. Yeah, let's do that. Maybe? That's a bit of an odd bounce, but you know what? Fuck it. Let's roll with it for now. Double check. Do I have any people? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So. So Oliver didn't do anything too crazy with his kicks either. Oliver liked a kick called the rack kick or Lexa. I mean, fuck, we all do. It's basically like the most hit and kick there is, and then you kind of just like add various levels of distortion to it, and you can get it, kind of get it busting. So yeah, literally my devil kick right here. Let's add a perk in there. Yeah. Oliver also really likes these like kind of like weirdo old friggin' 2016s perks and stuff like the high and let's add another one in. So one thing you can do with your kicks, just to kind of make it easy for yourself, is if you copy your 808 pattern, Control V to paste, Alt K, and then you kind of have to tweak this a little bit. I think it's like kind of like it pulls the ratios of it or something. But if you set it to C5, and then you kind of you right click it to make sure that all of your things are on there, then you kind of tweak from there. So I wanted to kick there, but. Yeah. Cool, and that's like, yeah, I don't know, that's pretty well it. That's like a generic Oliver beat, like right there. So we're gonna like add a few more things to it, like kind of like make sure that's like crisp and stuff like that, like kind of like where we want it to, like super wavy. Maybe it has like a moment or two. But yeah, we're kind of gonna. This is kind of like the basis of it. Like this is kind of the what you call, like it would be like the basis to your Oliver beat. Yes. So let's get going. What do I want to add to this? So I actually will add. Do I want to add some bass? I don't even know. This is where I'm kind of blanking. Never streamed before. I'm big pressure. Not really. So let's copy this over a bunch. So sometimes it is nice to kind of have like a pitched up version of the main melody, and then that can kind of like add excitement to what you're doing and kind of can make like a chorus and things like that. But right now I'm going to try to make it more exciting than it is, because I don't find it very exciting and I don't feel like not in the right. It's not cool. It's kind of cool. Okay, so I don't know. Let's add like arcade or something. Like give it a little bit of vocal thing. I don't want auto. Plugin database, no instruments, arcade. Let's see. So kind of want to add like, yeah, whatever, sure. And we are in the key of B major, ladies and gentlemen. Think anyway. Yeah, that's probably it, guys. Like, honestly, that's fire. Let's like, and then like, we'll just like tweak it to make it work after the fact. Yes, guys, this is seriously what I do. Alright, and let's see if that kind of fucking works, guys. Send that and see if that actually works. That might work. Here. Maybe. Kinda cool. Yeah, let's edit it a little bit. Fire, let's do that. That's kind of cool. Let's tweak it, not think too fucking hard about it. Now there's a lot of information like up there, so actually that's kind of hard, so just throw that up there. Let's add let's actually add that synth bass that I was kind of like hemming and hawing about. Kind of extend it. Let's make this go down. I really want it like wide as fuck. That's cool. Let's actually no, I need it kind of tighter than that. Nope. Okay. Jesus. Okay, so let's just copy the 808 pattern. So all it is B and then G sharp. So let's go here. Here. B sharp. So I gotta split this, and now it's the part that I like dread the most because I haven't done this in like fucking like 6 days. So I need to like arrange this beat, which is the most hardest part about it, because honestly the one thing that I've kind of learned off of this is that you guys who follow me really like big intros, and so with the big intros I know I keep flicking back and I'm like fuck, no one's watching, but that's good. I'm glad no one's watching right now. You guys really like big intros, so there's kind of like a weird, I don't know, weird intros are a bit of a vibe. So let's make a weird intro, and I don't know how we're gonna do it yet, but we're gonna figure it out. All right, so also do this. Yep. That gradient. Except Except for this bad boy. We're gonna put this up here. And we're gonna do that. Sir. I'm going to color select, gradient. We'll go from light blue to like, I don't know, dark blue. Dark blue. Dope. So what's going on here? Right, so that's like a loop. This is gonna be called Lofi Trap. And this is sub bass. So another common thing, really easy to do, is actually, so what you want to do is you want to side chain your 808 to your sub. So whenever your 808 hits, your sub ducks down in volume. And there's a big debate whether you should actually side chain your kicks to your 808. So the kick really punches through. But honestly, in my experience, I would leave that untouched, and I would just kind of add this, like what I was saying here, like the side chaining your 808 to your sub bass, because too much of that actual like low end frequency, like that sub 40k frequency, is actually gonna like blow your speakers like so fucking easy. It'll make it like really hard to master. It'll make your beats like really hard to get loud, like all that stuff. So by doing this, you kind of are always ducking those frequencies, and then you don't have to like worry about them too much when you're kind of like layering them on top of each other. So how you do that is if you go over to your 808 and then you kind of right click on this little bad boy down here, you say side chain to this track, or you just click on it. Typically speaking, it'll be like up here, you just drag it all the way down, and then so you add a fruity limiter, because it's like kind of easy to do it this way. Hit side chain number 1 a lot of times, or you can right click and click that, but honestly it's going to be on number 1, don't worry about it. Then you want to change your threshold. You kind of want to have them playing at the same time, so that's kind of a big thing. So let's go here, for example, let's only have our 808 and our sub playing, and I'll kind of show what I'm talking about here. So if we look at this, you gotta turn, first of all, you gotta turn your ratio up to like, I don't know, 8 or something. So let's go 0.8. It doesn't work like that. That's so funny. And that way, those two frequencies, once you adjust this threshold and you play around with the attack, release, and sustain, leave the attack on like immediate. Like you really don't want it like anything. Like, I don't know, you get like 0.08 or something. Maybe make it not sound more natural or whatever. But yeah, at the very least, like you want to play around with these two things. Then you kind of want to adjust the threshold. Like if you see here, how the threshold is kind of like, if all your white part is your sub bass, your purple part is your 808. So every time the 808 comes in, you can see it actually ducking these frequencies. We could probably even go harder. Yeah, so now we're really kind of limiting this bad boy, and yeah. And that's how we kind of get our shit sounding a little bit tight. This is. Is this like playback speed or something? I don't know play with that. Oh, scrolling speed. That's kind of weird. Alright, so now let's kind of chop this bad boy up. Going. Pop everything. I'm going to change this to every bar because it'll be easier to kind of like drag, drop, and move stuff around. So. We play around with it actually in the thing. Go from here. Done, 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 done. Sometimes waking up all the time. Yeah, and then there's things we can do. Okay. Okay. So this, guys, is pretty well like the general structure for the entire beat. Can I update it? There's like, so to create movement in a lot of these beats, what I like to do is add automation. So things like filters, things like reverb, things like halftime. I actually don't use gross beat. I use something called shaper box, but that is kind of like something that we'll use maybe in the second loop. But in the case of what we're doing here, I hear in this part of my head, I hear like a bit of a filter sweep. So I typically just pull up Fruity Filter. There's tons of other ones that you can use. I turn up the resonance just a little bit just because, I don't know, I just like to feel like I edited it in a bit. And then I hit Control or right click, and then I hit the A key, which will actually create an automation clip on the board, and then you kind of can play around with it there. It's super easy. This is one of the reasons why FL is kind of really sick for making beats. And then you kind of like literally just drag and drop. So like, and then there you have like the quickest filter sweep like on the fucking planet. Like, this program makes life so easy sometimes. Like, yeah, that's what I would say. And let's add, I actually am going to do something a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run these guys to their own little bus. So how I'm doing that is I'm clicking Control, click and dragging. So I'm getting all of my melodies, not my bass, and I'm putting them onto a separate track, and I'm calling it Melody Bus. And so now all of my melodies are being routed to this one specific track. Let's kind of give it a lime green because no my haha. And we're going to actually filter everything versus just the loop. And that will kind of maybe be kind of cool for when we go into that little bridge there. Before we go into that little bridge there, words are fucking difficult. So let's go up there. Let's cut that off. Bring that over. And where are you? You are up here. Let us actually delete you, my sir. And I actually don't think I just want to make and simultaneously, that's the shitty part about FL is all the bloody windows. But Ableton's kind of cool, but it looks really strange. And you have to pay $5,000 to get into it. Not actually, but it's literally $1,000. Don't even at me. Fire. Okay, so and we're gonna mix this bad boy after the fact. I know you're probably all looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? But I'm going to let you all in on the absolute secret because it fucked me up for literally ages. I got so confused because there is so much information and disinformation and 3 quadrillion ways to skin a cat because there's literally no right answer. This is just the most effective and the most efficient way that I found to mix things when I finally get to that point. But for now, we're going to continue on. I'm going to continue on doing this melody bus thing. I'm going to add a little patch that I've created for myself. It's called Drum Room Reverb, and it's this super trippy patch that kind of takes out some of the highs, some of the lows, adds a fucking assload of reverb, and then limits it to kind of raise some of the volume. And then we go back into FL Studio, and then we kind of adjust and automate this bad boy to make it sound really funky in certain spots. So for example, let's add a little bit here in the intro. So the high loop kind of sounds like dog to me, so let's kind of fix this. I think it has to do with the filter issue. I kind of don't want this that high. Let's just like add its own filter, I think, which I've kind of done here, but let's add another one. Turn the gain up on this bad boy. Okay. So what are we gonna do? So I guess what I kind of like to do here is I actually do like to mix these. So what I'll do is I'll loop part of the beat that kind of contains most, if not all, the elements, and we'll kind of go from there, and we'll start at 0. And typically I actually don't start at 0. Typically I don't actually do this. Typically I mix as I go, and then I kind of maybe tweak after the fact or anything like that, but typically I will mix as I go. So because honestly guys, this is what gets me really screwed up, is beats don't have to be mixed that well. I also engineer a lot of the music that I create with the artists that I do, and I guess what I mean by that is I like mix, master. I will also record them, so like actually engineer them, quote unquote, if you will. But primarily like I'll mix and master them, and there's things about mixing and master that kind of differ from beat making, but really it's really not it's really not that much of an outlandish concept. Like when you look at mixing in general, you're basically kind of doing two things. First one is you're looking at the frequency spectrum. So like, let's say just like let's pull up here. So I'm going to pull up my mastering chain, which I typically do for these like for all of my beats. This is what I use for literally every single one of my beats. What I have going here is, okay, beautiful. So I have a little bit, like I have an EQ here that cuts off at 18 hertz. The human ear can't hear below 18 hertz. I might be wrong about that, but that's the information I've been told. So I always cut off around 18 hertz. It kind of cleans up the mix a little bit, kind of easy that way. Secondly, I do a little bit of a cut at 25 hertz. I don't believe the human ear can truly audibly hear past 20K. But there is like a brightness that you hear when you lift this area, because it does kind of bleed over, if you see here at the bottom, to like maybe like 7, 8, 9K, all the way up to, it's lifting all the way up through to that 20K range. So I do that kind of like to add a bit of brightness. I don't necessarily like screw with this every beat, but I typically will just leave it. So then we go into a soft clipper, which literally is just going to control this. And then I run it into a limiter to really raise the volume. But let's kind of go back. So something that really screwed me up is everybody talks about gain staging. Oh, you got a gain stage. Oh, blah 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 blah. Like you don't want it to sound clipping. You don't want it to be fucking the red going up here. So here's the thing. When you're selling beats online and you're marketing them to artists, there's two different kinds of artists that will typically use beats. The first one is they'll typically only use an MP3, and they'll just kind of take your mix for what it is, add their own vocals on top of it, and run with it, right? So it's kind of your job in the beginning to kind of make your beat as hard as possible without, making... I don't know how to really explain this. You basically want your beat to hit as hard as possible in that MP3 style. Now, there is a second breed of artists that will use track stems. Those are the good ones. Because rather than just layering their voice on top of the beat, you can actually layer the elements of the beat around this person's voice. So typically speaking, what I'll do if I'm working with an artist is I will send them a beat like the one that I'm working on right now, for example, and they will hear that beat, and then they will send me their vocals. I will take the track stems, and then I will mix everything from there. And there's where you kind of do the whole gain staging thing. Oh, you want stuff to go to around like -3 dB. You don't want stuff clipping, like all this stuff. It doesn't really matter in the context of beats, because, and this is why, again, what we were talking about earlier with that lower frequency thing. So here we have the 808 and the kick. And then I have the sub bass, but the sub bass is being attached to the 808. Ignore it. These two frequencies alone, if we look at an EQ, are going to blow out past here. They both hit around this range. They're literally slamming into each other. But if we look at each track individually, the kick's only hitting at -2. 808's hitting at negative. If I click on that, like negative, I don't know, let's say 5 kind of thing. When I go to export this, when I go export wave file blank, and then say split mixer tracks, and then click out of this, like de-click enable master effects, all of these little individual tracks are not going to be clipping. And that's something that a lot of people like don't realize, is that just because you're clipping here doesn't mean that after you export each track individually, which is technically what you're doing with your beats, you're technically marketing them to serious artists who want to use the track stems, or will put through them to an engineer that knows how to deal with things like that. And that's how you get really crisp stuff. And then please don't argue with me like, oh, like blah 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 blah. Well, people don't use like track stems anymore. Like people just use MP3s. Like, you're right. You're totally right. And so that's the other side of the coin. It's kind of just like, let's get this, what we've got going on here, hitting as hard as possible so that a guy, yeah, can sit there, fucking take the beat, carve out the fucking spot for the fucking vocals to go. Buddy puts his vocals in there and then you kind of go. So your job really is to make your beat as it comes out through an MP3 sound as good as possible. So what we do is we hit it with a soft clipper and then, oh, look at that. It's not clipping anymore. Now the beat itself is not clipping and you can kind of adjust things from there. But really what you want to do in terms of leveling, this is also really not this difficult. So let's mix the melodies to kind of be where we want them to be. So let's take this guy. I'm actually going to add something called pan man, and I'm going to have it pan kind of slightly to the right a little bit. So we're going to offset it to the right. I'm going to just rhythm shape. No, sir. I'm going to turn up like 4 bars. We're going to smooth it out a little bit, offset it to the right, a little bit less. Yeah, have it be kind of slow. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. That's good. Now this is some actual mixing engineer shit, but so sometimes what you want to do is you want to create what's called a bus compressor. And so what bus compressors are it's like really light compression and it glues the tracks together. So for this, for example, I'm going to run the bus compressor at like, I don't know, let's do like 1.8. We're gonna kind of, yeah, like a bit of a slower-ish attack and then like a bit of a faster release. And compressing things too will also like simultaneously like make them appear like they sound louder, which is kind of like neat. So that'll actually make your melodies kind of hit harder, if you will, without actually like having to turn them up. So then you can actually like keep your drums like super loud, but then also kind of have your like melodies like still kind of cutting through. So now we're gonna mix the drums in this section. And so let's just, for the absolute sake of this, let's just turn all of this stuff down to 0. And we'll kind of start at the bottom. So the most priority thing in your beat is obviously kind of your 808. I mean, not necessarily, but like for what I do, yes. So I'm going to turn this bad boy up to, let's say 6, right? Then we're going to turn the kick up. And you don't really want to be looking at the grid. Like, I don't really care too much about that. For the kick and the 808, I kind of want them to be complementing each other. Like, I kind of want the kick to make the 808 go boom, boom every time. So, like, that's kind of what we're going off. Okay, so now I'm going to make the snare basically just as loud as that. Okay, so that's what I would call like a general mix that I do. And then like what I'll do, like again, like after the fact, like really what it is I'm trying to get this to sound like as kind of clean as possible. And then when I export everything as track stems, that kind of cleans it up for me. And then when I actually go to engineer it in like Reaper or like, you know, basically Pro Tools, everything's kind of clean for me. And I've kind of labeled everything like at least semi nicely. Like obviously like I put my name and like the kind of hi-hat that I've used kind of thing, but like hi-hat, open hat, perk, like those are the names of the first things that kind of output. So yeah, that's kind of what I do just in terms of like mixing. Like this kind of screwed me up for a long time because I thought that when the kick and the 808 hit, they should both be at around 6. And again, that works for some people, but it's kind of faster if you like speed mix like while you're doing it, while you're kind of making your beat. And then when you kind of get to the final part of it, like, yeah, you have like a soft clipper and then like a limiter, and then you kind of like use that to make your beat loud as sin. And what you're trying to do is like, I'm trying to get that LUFS like as loud as I possibly can. So like the closer it is to like -0, the absolute better, without like absolutely torching your mix. Okay, now, dope, great, awesome. So that's kind of the main part of it. Now the next part of it is adding transitions. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to differentiate between verses, choruses, and bridges and things like that. We're kind of trying to add motion to the beat. We want like stops in certain places to like make people go like, oh, kind of thing, and then drop it in again and blah, 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 like cut things here, cut things there kind of thing. Like really kind of like play around with it, figure out like, yeah, just how to keep it exciting going through. So first things first is going into here, you know, you just kind of add transitions. So I keep a ton of transitions like in drum kits. I make them a lot of the time. I steal them a lot of the time. Cody from Internet Money makes stupidly good transitions. Like shouts out Cody. Honestly, fucking that's the shit I do, like fucking video game effects and like crazy like Kingdom Hearts style like impacts, and that shit's just so cash to me. So let's kind of get cracking. I'll kind of like do my thing on this, kind of like takes a bit of time, but this is actually, honestly, sometimes this can be like one of the longest parts of making a beat, is actually like just like adding these transitions and like making sure like stuff is like flowing kind of how I want it to, or like arranged in a specific way. I like to make sure that all of my transitions are on stretch mode, and then I can kind of adjust them so there's no like weird phasing sounds or anything like that. But then some bad. There we go, like just like that. It's very, 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 very subtle. Like that's makes such a huge difference. And then let's add this bad boy. Like bless you, Cody. You are a fucking legend for this shit, my dude. Like holy lord. Like woo. Also, I'll see this real quick. Let's go. And so this might get a little bit boring. I really gotta figure out how to get this like stream chat like fucking popping so I can like actually see people. Like I missed you, Sacred K, and then Dirty Milk. I missed you too. I don't really know who you are, but I vibe with it. It's a good time. Yeah, it's kind of like just like a spur of the moment thing. It's like kind of like, oh, you know, it'd be cool here is if we did this or something, and then we just kind of figured out from there. But this guy, I kind of like this going into things. There we go. Resample it, stretch it. Yeah. I actually don't like that as much. Maybe I will put that on the end here, and that might be kind of cool. Instead, let's do this like little thing. This is my favorite crash. You can find it in my drum kit, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Rocket Science drum kit. It's totally available free on my website. Definitely go check it out. I made a whole bunch of crashes that I absolutely love. Whole bunch of impacts I absolutely love. A lot of the kit is recycled sounds. I'm not even gonna cap. That snare is kind of cool. I like that snare. I use it in a bunch. I used it a bunch of my beats. Yeah, like a lot of these are like kind of like edited sounds and things like that. You bussin' fucking kicks. Couple wicked 808s. Honestly, the 808s are fucking sick. I really like the 808s. The drum fills. Where are they? Here they are. That stuff's fucking crazy when you're trying to like. Let's just add this in and just show you guys. Like it's so sick. You kind of gotta make it shorter, and then let's kind of just stretch it, and then okay, my bad. No. Okay, one more time. This is fun. This is how you gotta do this when you're making music. Yeah. Okay. So let's go. I love doing this shit like this. Let's make it go on a little bit longer. Yeah, like. Yeah. But no, not in this. Fucking kidding, not in this beat. Can you imagine? Not in this beat, boys. Copy these over from the first chorus. Cut. A lot of times I just kind of know too. Kind of done this for a while, so you know what sounds good where to... Where is it? Feldspar. Bad boy. It's good. This is good. He does me dirty, this man. This is a very, very nice. Let's go. Let's go. Y'all hear that? I know y'all hear that. Fuck yeah, let's go. Alright, so let's add this bad boy. This is like a signature shit, dude. No, we all know that. Yeah, and then we have like a little bit of an outro. So let's add this bad boy, and I do this like every beat. It's so annoying, and we all know Avers did that. Anyone that listens to this shit knows that Avers did that on. What the beat's called? It's like floating. It's floating. Yeah, we all know that one. So what am I adding to the beginning here? That's super epic. So sometimes there's like white noise that you can use that kind of will also give like a nice little zhuzh effect to it. So let's add white noise down. Kind of cool actually. Let's do that and we'll kind of mellow it out a little bit. So if I automate this and I automate the volume of it, I can make it kind of come in but like not so harshly. Kind of like that, eh? So again, yeah, so what you can do, you left click on that, automate, you can actually multiply the volume of it. Hello to the one person watching me. I actually do want kind of like a kind of cool like video game kind of sound effect sort of thing. This is where this kind of gets like super creative. Because you're not really... Perfect. I'm never really sure like what to use like in a lot of instances. Like so you kind of have to like kind of play around with it until you end up actually like figuring out how you want it to sound. So let's go into here. So I want to actually change. Cool. And then I actually add an assload of reverb to both of these, actually. Where's the reactor? And add down just a little bit. Let's make it come in quicker. Totally. There we go. Let's go. Okay. So let's add a little bit of compression to glue these two things together. What I'm kind of doing here is I'm making an Oliver type crash, if you will. I didn't really intend to do this, but I kind of wanted like a cool little intro. So this is kind of what we're getting. Let's turn up the reactor type crash. Where's that bad boy? Let's actually stereo that to the right. Okay, I'm going to rock with it at 0. I like that. Okay. So let's actually bounce that because I might want to keep that in my kit, in a new kit. Tight. Oh, excuse me. I'm getting way ahead of myself. I have not edited this enough yet. So I want to add a whole bunch of reverb to this. So let's just add some basic like fruity reverb. Like in a bit of a drum room kind of deal. Kind of. All right, I like that. Do we add anything else? Let's try to add wrong button. Let's try to add a chorus. File, save. It's actually kind of turning out kind of well, so I'm happy with this. Pretty chorus. Let's look at it. So now let's look at an EQ. Let's make sure this is. Just a bit harder. A little bit of an impact to it. Okay, so there, we just made technically like crash. So I'm gonna stop that. I'm actually gonna get it exactly on 4 beats, if you see here. And then, oh, I haven't done this in a minute. How do I do this? You can set it to snap to tempo sync. Leave. Tempo synced. Yes, exactly. And then, so you want to do it at exactly 4. Is that 3? Nope. I've got it right. Yep, right there. And Control Delete. So now we're actually going to save this to my drum kit after we boost it, which is right here. No, there's a way to do this. This one guy watching is just like, what the hell? Is it amp? Nope. Hi, Diffuse. How you doing, man? Right now I'm trying to amp it. I think it's just amp. Yeah, I'm just being stupid. It's just amp. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Perfect. yeah, I can maybe edit that after the fact. So I'm gonna throw that in my 2.0 kit, which is coming very, very soon. There's honestly a lot of sounds in here already. What I want to call this? Delfino. So, and then I'm just going to delete that. I'll leave the original crash. Actually, no, that doesn't make sense from an organization. Okay. So I'm going to actually delete this track. Reset selected tracks to default. Excuse me, not being fast. I refresh my structure. Click up here, reread. And you go into your kits. Anything that you add will kind of be updated as you kind of go. So there's the crash that we just kind of made a minute ago. Put that up there. Then let's listen to the whole track. And then same thing, let's actually automate the volume of this to do the thing that I wanted it to do earlier, which is kind of like a floosh. Fire, that's the way to go, lads. Call that 17, call that effects. Take this bad boy. Just because I feel like it, I'm gonna add like a titch of reverb to the snare. Small drum studio, use presets. You don't have to worry. Let's make it darker. Hello, Nick. What's going on, dude? There we go. I hear it now. Cool. And so for those of you that don't know, this guy here, that is Windrunner from Dota 2. Let's go into that crash right there, feldspar. Let's turn that down. Now, I want to try something with the vocal chop because this is kind of like driving me mad, or like maybe I don't really like it. I'm not really sure, but we're going to try and pitch it up an octave, see what happens. From Lil Alter Boy. Let's link the to Franker. See how she goes. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Let's do that. Yeah. This stuff's hard, guys. Hard when there's so many friggin' menus to open. There's this guy, there's this guy, there's this guy, this guy, this guy. Yes, sir. Do I like that? I don't even know. I don't even know if I like that. Maybe I don't. Yeah, let's leave it. I kind of like it. And then I'm gonna make this guy unique, and I'm kind of gonna fade out the ending to it, so it's more like this kind of deal. Let's add. No, God, what do I want to? No. No, I kind of don't like that. Keep a whole bunch of effects and stuff on deck, because if you're, this is the one thing also that I notice from beat makers in general that they screw up on a lot, like especially like if I'm ever editing who am I ranting at right now? Okay. If I'm ever working with another, like a client's mix, for example, and they send me someone's beat, a lot of the times they don't have these kind of transitions, and so it doesn't necessarily help the song at all, because like there's times when you want the song to have these like big impactful moments, but then there's just like nothing there. And I guess there's can be something to be said about like super simplicity, but kind of at the end of the day, I personally, how I like to make music is I like to add these kind of like swooshes and transitions and stuff. So that's why this aspect of the process can almost take as long as like the first part, versus the drums are by far, like that's what's mind blowing, is like the drums are by far the easiest part of this whole process. Like the loop maker in general, the loops in general are what is so difficult about beat making, because if your sample or your loop or your melody isn't good, like you basically like, you might as well just honestly like trash your beat, because drums are so piss easy to make, honestly. But I think this beat is pretty well done, guys, so I'm going to play it back from the beginning and let's listen. So typically through that last playthrough, kind of get ADHD, and I kind of like figure out that there's like a whole bunch of changes that like actually like low key need to be made to the beat, or just things that I'm like, oh, like, you know, it'd be really cool if like instead of that you did this or something like that. And that's kind of, yeah, again, like this is like by far like what takes me the longest part when you're making beats, because I don't want something basic and shit. All right, absolutely awesome. So I'm just gonna double check the LUFs, make sure it's loud enough. Yeah, that is hitting like a truck, ladies and gentlemen. So export, this is empty. Okay, so then this is the next thing. So let's actually get this going. So I'm going to put this in my Wavy folder, which is all my Oliver beats, which I really need to clean up. Kind of bad. Calling this one Dreamboat 149. Caps lock. Boat 149. Prod. Oh my. And so we're gonna save it into here. And so let's export this really quick. I say really quick, and then it's like this, like 6 minute long. So sounds fire. I hope you're doing well. Unfortunately, I have to get out early. Watching a master at work. Yo, thanks guys. I know I'm like, yeah, Nick, we should like talk or something. You're watching a master at work. Yo, thank you, MF. Honestly, you're such like a huge supporter of mine. So like, thank you so much. This whole streaming thing is like kind of new for me. I really like want to, you know, kind of like get on this more. Kind of, I don't know how to explain this, but I don't really know how it works too well. So I'm gonna kind of stream for a little bit every once in a while, kind of make some videos off of it and break them down and stuff, and that way I can kind of bring you guys like content that's like more like me actually like helping you guys out, or like talking, or like, you know, I'm gonna show you guys like how to like mix your own vocals. I want to show you guys how to you know, it like really like make your own beats, like make your own like mix your own vocals, like really do everything on your own, because like I truly believe in like DIY and like keeping it independent with yourself, and keeping it all in-house, because like you have a vision that only you can kind of like not explain to people, but like you're the only one that truly like understands your own vision. Like no matter how well or how hard you explain it to people, like they're never going to get your vision truly, like you understand your vision. So with that in mind, it's good to learn the tools that are available to you in order to actually like kind of help you push your vision, and like help you create the vision that you're trying to create for yourself. So I'm hoping to kind of do that, and I'm gonna force a couple of the artists that I work with to it's gonna give me problems every time I try to render. That's so funny. I wonder if it actually will. I might have to just save this and then come back to it later, and then like export it at a later date. Giving me problems every time I try to export, which is fine. But yeah, I believe that you guys and everyone should be kind of like self-sufficient in this day and age, and there's no reason that people can't kind of learn this stuff. It's honestly super easy. So today I'm kind of focusing on Oliver type stuff. I'm going to be posting beats every other day from now on going forward, rather than every day or every attempted day. That way to kind of keep it easy on myself, and to kind of like break up the content just a little bit. But I do want to know, like, if there's other stuff that guys like want to hear from me, like if there's like, I don't know how to explain this, but like basically like if guys want me to make like a certain kind of loop or a certain kind of beats or something like that, like I want to do that for you guys, you know what I mean? Like I'm a big fan of like the nothing nowhere convolk style of music, so you know, I don't know if there's a lot of bleed over from that, or like hyperpop, or like where everything kind of lies like in that spectrum. But yeah, this has definitely been an interesting experience. I'm probably going to call it here, and I'll make more just kind of as the days kind of go by. But it's 4:45 my time, and thank you for kind of logging in, whoever did. I think there was at least like 4 or 5 people that kind of came in here. But I will upload this and kind of break it apart and show you guys how I made it. And yeah, thanks for coming by, guys.